look at how to start creating your final artwork, okay, for your packaging. So I'm working on a rectangle, so I've downloaded from Brightspace rectangle dieline AI file. Okay, so let's just have a look at how this file is constructed. If I look at my layers, you'll see there's 3 layers here. There's the artwork layer. Okay, there is the die line. If I turn that on and off, you'll see that's the pink line. That's the indication of where the cutting and the folding is, okay, for the printer, if this was being printed. And then the top layer is the label. Now, if you guys have time, I'll be getting you to design your own label, okay, for your packaging. You might not want to put it there, okay. You could put it wherever you've designed it on your thumbnails. Okay, if you run out of time, you can always use this and just update the details. Okay, for the time being, I'm actually going to turn that off because it's just going to bother me, okay, and I'm going to just start looking at putting my surface graphics onto the file. So I'm going to go back to my follow a design process and look at my organic pattern that I designed. Okay, this is just a sample of the thumbnail. Okay, you guys have probably got the thumbnails or your prototypes in front of you. Okay, so I'm going to copy that and I'm going to bring it in here. Now you'll see that I'm working on my artwork layout. I'll paste that. Okay. Now everybody's designs are going to be different, so everybody will be treating this differently. This is just showing you how I would go about organising this particular design onto my packaging. Okay, I'm just going to leave my little thumbnail out there just so I can sort of look at the colours and things when I need to. Okay, so the first thing that I've got a challenge here is that the my original design is a square format and I need to now apply it over rectangles. Okay, so what I'm going to do to make my job easy is I'm going to just enlarge it. Okay, right up to the halfway mark. Okay, now the halfway mark, because you'll see that, you know, it's pretty much, this is a duplication down the bottom here. Okay, with printing, I'm sure we've all talked about this before. If you're printing something, sending something off to the printer, maybe a business card or packaging, a brochure, you always need to apply bleed to the trim, okay, so that if there's colour that needs to go right up to the edge of your design, to supply it to the printer, you would need to extend that colour beyond where it's going to be cut, okay, so that if it gets cut crooked, sometimes it does, but at the printers, there won't be little bits of white paper sort of jutting out and ruining your design. So normally you'd only have about a 3 or 4 mil bleed, okay, extending out from where the die line is, but for this purpose, I'm just being a little bit lazy. I've just enlarged my square, so it's hanging over a fair bit, but that's okay. All right, so let's ungroup this. And you'll see the way this has been designed is there's just one big black behind all of those white little pebbles, okay? And that's okay. And that's a really good way of doing something. Instead of filling in all these black line work and thinking you've got to draw all that black line work, you can just draw these shapes here, right? And let's say I'll just fill them with some colour. And yep, have they got a white key line on them? They have. I don't want a white key line. And then you can basically just have one big colour in the background, and all of a sudden it's sort of made your job a lot easier. Okay, so that's just me being a little bit lazy. Okay, so what I want to do first, I think, is I'm going to make my job a bit easier. I think I might just sort of colorise all these first. So I've already developed some colour swatches. Okay, got to get that fill. Okay, I've already created some colour swatches. Okay, so it's probably a good thing to do that before you get started. Okay, just based on your original sort of concept. Okay, that you would have done last term. Okay, I'm just randomly choosing anything here just to get the job done quickly. Okay, you guys will take much more care. Okay, so let's say that's my design. Okay, what you will find is you go, okay, that's cool. So if I just go select all, okay, I'm going to hold down Option Command on the Mac and Shift. Okay, and if I drag it down, it gives me 2 arrows. Okay, that means I'm duplicating. Okay, and then I'm just going to put it down here. Okay, and you go, yeah, hey, that's great. But there's a few dodgy things here. When we get into the crease here, it would be really nice, I think, for these little pebbles to continue on, not just be like a hard slice. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and delete these around that fold. It's okay at this fold here because our design's already sort of been wrapping around because I enlarged it all. Okay, so also the other thing is that big black background, that actually can go all the way down to the bottom. Okay, so it can come all the way down to here. Okay, so really it just cleans up our design. That's just one whole piece. Okay, so the next thing what we need to do is we need to look at filling in these gaps. What are we going to do down here? Okay, so I'm going to continue just extending these pebbles. Okay, around here, this one here, I can go, okay, I'll fill in this gap just so that our design becomes a little bit more seamless. Okay, that's a bit dodgy, but you'll get the idea. This one here as well, I might just put a whole new piece in here. Okay, again, you know, think about how you actually drew your original vector files. If it's easier to use, you know, you might want to use the paintbrush or the pencil just to sort of scribble in a few extra bits. But all of a sudden I've created, not so neatly, but I've created for the purpose of this exercise, extra pebbles. So it's not becoming, it's becoming a little bit more organic. Here's another one up here. It's a bit dodgy, so what I'll do with this one is just going to alter this, get rid of that. So I'll continue this one along. Okay. All right. Again, you know, just fine-tuning things, but you'll do a much better job because you're going to be spending a lot more time on it. Okay, so there's my first panel. All right, my original design had just some charcoal ends on it. Okay, you can't see that on the photo, but what I'm going to do is again draw over here. I'm going to go up to that fold line. Okay, and I'm going to make that a plain colour. Okay, and same up here. Okay, now you might find that your flaps are going to be the same colour, okay, as that. So what you can do is just extend it down to your flaps. Okay, and this one here will make it like that. Okay, so there you go. There's pretty rough, pretty quick is my artwork, okay, that's been adapted from that original design from Follower Design Process. I'm going to turn on my label now, and what I'll do is unlock that label. I might lock my artwork for the minute, and I'm just going to select, just for the purpose of this, both of those labels, and I'll fill them with white. Okay, and there we have it. Okay, this is the design. Now what I'm going to do is save this as a PDF, and if you've got time you'll be able to do some mock-ups of your packaging in Photoshop. Okay, the main part of this assessment task is just to create the finished artwork, okay, which is pretty much to this stage, but hopefully yours will be better. And to get to the next bit, what I would do is I'd be saving this as a PDF, and then I'll show you another video where we're actually going to bring it into Photoshop. Okay, thanks guys.